Have you ever wondered why life feels so hard sometimes? Why pain, loss, or struggle seem to follow us like shadows no matter what we do? It's easy to believe that something is broken, that suffering is a sign we're doing life wrong. But what if I told you that suffering isn't a flaw in the system, but a feature? What if pain is not the enemy, but the crucible in which our strength is forged? This might sound counterintuitive in a world that constantly sells us comfort, ease, and happiness as the ultimate goals. But one philosopher turned this idea completely on its head. He believed suffering isn't something to run from. It's something to face, embrace, and even thank. That philosopher was Friedrich Nietzsche. Welcome to the Unfolding Journey, a place where we explore the deeper layers of human experience through philosophy, psychology, and personal growth. Here, we believe that wisdom isn't just found in books or theories, but in how we live, struggle, and transform through life's most challenging questions. If you're someone who feels called to explore the truth beyond the surface, to unfold the journey of your own becoming, then you're in the right place. Let's dive into Nietzsche's powerful and often misunderstood view on suffering, and why it may hold the key to your deepest strength. Friedrich Nietzsche, 1844 to 1900, is one of the most provocative and influential thinkers in Western philosophy. His ideas have shaped psychology, existentialism, literature, and even modern self-help culture. But at the core of Nietzsche's work lies one profound and radical claim. To live is to suffer. To survive is to find some meaning in the suffering. To understand Nietzsche's view of suffering, we need to first understand his broader philosophy of life. Nietzsche rejected conventional morality, religious consolation, and the idea of objective truth. Instead, he proposed a philosophy that emphasized the individual will, creative power, and self-overcoming. For Nietzsche, life was not about achieving peace or comfort. Life was a struggle, a battlefield of forces, instincts, drives, and conflicting values. And at the center of that battlefield stands the individual, called not to escape suffering, but to transcend through it. Nietzsche didn't just tolerate suffering. He saw it as essential. That which does not kill us makes us stronger. This quote has become almost cliché in pop culture, but it expresses a profound truth in Nietzschean terms. Suffering, he argued, is the testing ground for greatness. It exposes our weaknesses, shatters our illusions, and forces us to confront who we really are. Only through this confrontation, with pain, loss, failure, and despair, can we begin the process of transformation. Nietzsche believed that real strength doesn't come from avoiding suffering, but from confronting it, absorbing it, and emerging stronger on the other side. This idea is central to what he called the will to power. The will to power is one of Nietzsche's most complex and debated concepts. At its core, it refers to the drive within all life, not just to survive, but to grow, expand, and assert itself. For Nietzsche, human beings are not merely creatures who want safety or pleasure. We are creators, warriors, artists of our own lives. And suffering? That's the forge in which this creative will is tested. Nietzsche didn't believe in comfort as a goal. In fact, he saw the pursuit of comfort as a kind of weakness, a symptom of what he called slave morality, a worldview that values meekness, obedience, and victimhood. True strength, he argued, comes from self-overcoming, a continual process of rising above your former self. And that process is painful. It requires sacrifice, failure, even despair. But it also leads to something rare and precious. Authentic strength, the kind born not from privilege or protection, but from battle. One of Nietzsche's most powerful concepts is the Übermensch, or Overman. This is not a literal superhero or superior race, as some have misunderstood. The Übermensch is a symbol, a vision of what a human being can become when they embrace their suffering and transform it into power. The Übermensch doesn't seek external validation, religious salvation, or social conformity. They create their own values, find meaning in their own experience, and rise above the ordinary by turning life's challenges into fuel for becoming. But here's the catch. You don't become an Übermensch by taking the easy path. You become one by walking through the fire, enduring the existential anguish of becoming, and still choosing to affirm life, even in the face of chaos, even in the absence of clear meaning. This leads us to one of Nietzsche's most poetic and challenging ideas, Amor Fati. My formula for greatness in a human being is Amor Fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. Not merely bear what is necessary, still less conceal it, but love it. Amor Fati, Latin for love of fate, is the ultimate Nietzschean attitude towards suffering. It's not just enduring hardship, it's loving it, embracing it as part of your path, seeing every loss, every heartbreak, every failure not as an obstacle, but as an opportunity. This isn't some naive positivity or toxic optimism. Nietzsche doesn't suggest we deny our pain or pretend everything is fine. On the contrary, he calls us to face our suffering more honestly than anyone else, and then to affirm it, to say, "This too is part of my story, and I will use it." To fully grasp Nietzsche's position, it helps to understand what he was reacting against. Nietzsche famously declared that God is dead, not as a literal statement, but as a recognition that traditional religious frameworks no longer held power in modern life. He believed Christianity, with its emphasis on meekness, sin, and redemption, taught people to view suffering as punishment or something to be escaped through divine salvation. In Nietzsche's eyes, this weakened the human spirit. It turned suffering into something shameful, something to be endured while awaiting some promised paradise. He wanted to flip this on its head. Suffering is not something to endure passively. It's something to engage with actively. Unlike Stoicism, which teaches detachment from pain, or Buddhism, which seeks the end of suffering through enlightenment, Nietzsche embraces suffering as a generative force. Not something to escape, but something to transform. In Nietzsche's view, the highest human calling is not to transcend suffering, but to transmute it, to turn it into strength, insight, and creative power. Rather than looking outward for salvation or inward for escape, he challenges us to stand in the fire of life and forge meaning from the flames. For Nietzsche, it is in the depths of our struggles, not in their absence, that we uncover who we truly are and who we might yet become. Nietzsche's philosophy can be unsettling, even brutal, but it carries a fierce kind of hope. The belief that we are not fragile beings meant for comfort, but powerful ones meant for transformation. He challenges us to see suffering not as a curse, but as a call to grow, to create, and to rise beyond who we were yesterday. In a world obsessed with ease and instant gratification, Nietzsche reminds us that the path to true strength is anything but easy. It's forged in hardship, refined in solitude, and tested through pain. But those who walk that path, who dare to embrace their suffering, may find not just resilience, but purpose and a life that is authentically their own. If this resonated with you, if you've ever felt like your struggles might hold deeper meaning, then you're not alone. At the Unfolding Journey, we explore these exact questions: how to live deeply, how to grow through pain, and how to find strength in the chaos of becoming. Backhand index pointing right, subscribe to the channel and join a community of thinkers, seekers, and fellow travelers on the path. New videos every week to inspire, challenge, and unfold your journey. Until next time, keep walking through the fire. There's something extraordinary on the other side.